Ready.
Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about Never Ever Met, Season 1, Episode 6.
Listen, I need y'all to subscribe. We are trying to get to 1,500 subscribers before the end of this month. I think we could do it. I think we need less than 25.
Yeah, I think we're close.
I need 1,500.
Yeah, welcome to everyone who's new. Thanks for
listen
joining.
here. I don't know if y'all ever been to church before, but sometimes they don't let y'all out because they like, hey, we need the money. We need the budget, okay? We ain't letting y'all out. We about to take up a third offering, okay? So this is my third offering for y'all. I need 1,500 subscribers by the end of the month. Why? Because it makes me feel good. Yeah. It makes my wife feel better.
Don't you want us to be happy?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's get them a good show, Blair. Walk us through it.
All right, so Aaron and Dymond's sister are still cussing each other out.
Oh, my goodness.
Dymond is trying to tell her sister that she was wrong. Sister says if he was a real man, he's not going to argue with a woman.
While she's arguing with a man.
Right.
Okay.
But he says just be mindful, not necessarily in these words, but if he's going to talk to me like that, then what's to say he won't talk to you like this?
Question right there, Blair. Are you a believer of that?
Yeah.
That basically whatever somebody do to others, that they would do to you eventually?
I do. I think... and it may take years, or it may not, a circumstance may not come up to where the person may do that.
Yeah.
But I think that if it's in somebody's character to act a certain way, then they'll probably do it. And I understand that some things get people out of character.
Yeah.
But this is the second time you've seen Aaron talk to a woman disrespectfully, Jody being the first time. So I'm just like, Dymond, if you piss him off bad enough, I think you will get his wrath. So
yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Because you have some people that, like you said, to just take you out of character, to where some people won't take you out of character. Right? It's within my character to do this. But as long as you don't bring that out, I'll probably never do it. But who knows? Because Aaron, at some point of the episode, says, I'll never talk to you that way. And I'm like, I don't know, brother, man.
Yeah, that's when Dymond goes out to talk to him. Yeah. And she asks, like, did you want to jump on my sister? And Aaron says that he wasn't going to fight her. He doesn't fight men. He doesn't fight anybody. He said, Rodney, was that his first name?
Let's call him Ronald.
Yeah. He said, when the last time I fought somebody? Ronald said, not in years. So he said he was not going to put his hands on nobody.
Yeah.
So Dymond's sister is walking out. Dymond's following her out, trying to make sure she's okay. And the sister says, he walked around pretty much like he was trying to jump on me. And production ends up kind of intervening in that conversation. Yeah. And Dymond is just by herself. Millie goes to console her. Dymond asks her sister, basically, all I need you to do is be there for me. Like, I understand you don't want to sit down and have a conversation with him. But, since you can't talk to Aaron, we'll just have my back as your sister. Yeah. And so they hug and she walks her out.
Keep going.
Aaron tells Dymond that he was set on being nice to the sister, but all he heard her say when he was walking up was that she can do so much better. He feels bad about how he reacted, and he apologizes to her, and he's even hopeful that maybe in the future they can meet under better circumstances.
You see, my problem with that statement in itself is you knew you had a problem with the sister.
Yeah.
So when you just gave a good definition, Blair, a couple minutes ago about people taking you out of character, this is not a sneak attack.
Right.
Because y'all was having some type of beef online. So I would have thought that you would have guarded yourself or prepared yourself and be proactive to be like, the sister don't like me, expect anything and everything.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So yeah, maybe it is true that maybe like, he wasn't so caught off guard. Maybe he was in the mindset of, I'm going to check her because we was both arguing online at one point,
Right, possibly. So Chris is mentioning, and this is going to come up later in the episode, that sexual tension is high between him and Sandia.
Stop right here, because I thought you was going to say the last line about Dymond and Aaron.
Okay.
But Dymond, why didn't you have a problem with how Aaron addressed your sister? Oh, you did, but you didn't have a problem with how he addressed Joanna. Right. In some way, you looking at it, you sitting on the couch, you got your face all tight, you got your foot shaking, you know what I'm saying? Because of how he's talking to a woman. But as long as that woman's your sister, right?
That's all you care about.
That's all you care about. But when he was talking that way, aggressively, having an argument, Jody was minding her business. You get what I'm saying? Aggressively, all of a sudden, you're like, he gets brownie points, right? That's not fair. And that's not right. I think in some factors and in some way, I'm not going to say you like confrontation, but I find it very interesting that when the confrontation was on your doorstep, when it comes to your family, then all of a sudden you don't like it, and all of a sudden you want peace. But you wanted Aaron to go and defended you against Jody. It's weird.
Right. It's really weird, especially because Jody was sitting there minding her business.
Exactly.
And it seems like that's the issue that y'all have, minding y'all business. So Chris says that the sexual tension is high between him and Sandia.
Yeah.
This is something that's going to come up later on in the episode, but pretty much the boom boom room is always taken, and he's pretty much, his bed is next to Aaron Jay, the younger Aaron. So he can't really do with Sandia what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So the guys are outside. Gregg calls for a chat with Millie and Chris so they can try to rectify things. So Chris is asking Millie, you know, what happened the other night? Do you think it was necessary? And Millie says yes. Chris just doesn't want there to be disrespect and name calling.
Yeah.
Millie explains that you wanted me to talk, then you didn't want me to speak when I started to get real with you. And to her, she felt like Chris was calling her a B in that moment.
Wow. Okay.
Even though it never left his mouth.
Not even close.
She says you can talk to Sandia that way, and she even said, you know, basically, I'm not no weak B, like you can do that with a weak B. And I'm just like, so are these like subliminals or shots at Sandia as well?
It's funny, the whole point of all of this was to defend Sandia.
Yeah.
And now Sandia is getting lashes across her back passive aggressively.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But go ahead.
So Millie feels Chris isn't telling the truth, and he's like, what am I not telling the truth about? And she's like, that you ain't nothing. And it's like, I don't think Chris is gonna agree with the fact that he ain't nothing.
I wouldn't.
So Chris pretty much is trying to calm the conversation down, and walk away. He's like, this is just not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And so Millie ends up following him because he's going to talk to Gregg to pretty much tell Gregg, your girl is tripping. And I don't think this is going to be a conversation we can have.
Yeah.
So she comes in and she starts yelling, and she's still calling him that he ain't nothing and all this type of stuff. And then he gets worked up and he starts asking her how much money she got in her bank account.
Oh, okay.
And then he calls her a slut and all this type of stuff. So it really got out of hand.
What are your thoughts overall on that scene, Blair?
My thoughts overall was that, like, is Sienna still here?
Oh, my goodness.
I was like, Millie, I did not expect you to be the one to take up the mantle. But no, Millie was really off her rocker. You know, if she feels that he's a B, then she could feel that way. But it really didn't call for her to call him out of his name. Yeah. I don't know. I don't understand all the anger and aggression when Chris really didn't do anything to you.
Yeah.
And his girl and the people he's friends with, Jody and Aaron J in the house, all of them are cool.
Have nothing to do with you.
So I don't, this getting all worked up and everything like that, I really don't see why she's getting herself that emotionally involved.
Yeah. Just so you know, when we review these people on the show, we are only talking about the characteristics of the person that we see on the show. We do not know these people. So what I'm about to say, I'm only speaking on the characteristics that I see on the show.
Right.
Millie, you're a trash person. Period. Point blank. Right? You don't have respect for people. You don't have respect for men. And let me be sympathetic to you. I understand you've been through what you've been through. I understand you view men in a certain way. But many times tonight, I even heard you say in this episode that in some factors you blame yourself for what happened to you. And I say don't do that because, you know, bad people do bad things no matter what situation you in. Right. So I empathize with you right there. But this is actually a situation that you put yourself into. This whole getting back and forth with Chris. Chris, was it what you think about Chris is none of Chris' business. And you did not have to tell him. But you already showed your hand of what type of person you are. You're a trash human being based on the characteristics that I've seen on the show. Because it really takes... One thing I kept saying throughout this whole review series that I said all these people in this house is weird, and I said the weirdest ones is Millie and Gregg because they lived in the same city and they dated and they haven't seen each other. And I said that's the weirdest one out of all of them, out of the Alexis and Dominique, out of the
everybody,
out of Sienna and Brandon,
right? Out
of each one, y'all was the weirdest ones.
Absolutely.
And I don't understand this whole. Maybe you have a crush on Chris. Because I don't understand how it turned into Chris saying, hey, let's not call each other names. And then you went from, hey, I felt like you called me a B, even though, like, he didn't call you a B. And then it turned into, you can never date a girl like me. I don't know what ghost you seeing. Like, that's literally the conversation went to.
Chris doesn't want you, Millie.
No.
I don't think Millie wants Chris either. But I don't know. But like you said, she's fighting some ghosts in her head.
Yes.
Or something. Because she's not arguing with the situation at hand.
Yes.
She's not.
And the reason why I use the word trash human being is because we will see later on in the episode that I don't think, because of your situation is so real to you, and I'm not taking that away from you, you lack empathy for other people. And we see it in Gregg. When y'all was in therapy near the end of the episode, and when the therapist asked Gregg a question, Gregg did not cut Millie off while she was talking. He did not insert himself.
He didn't try to change the conversation.
He was quiet the whole time, and the therapist asked him a question, and he didn't even get an answer out, and you rolled your eyes and basically was like, why are we talking about him? Because he's a person too.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? You're not the only one that hurts in the world, unfortunately, and I'm sorry it happened to you. But at the end of the day, you have to learn to function in this society still, and be able to talk to people, and be able to see. The main reason why I'm mad is because Chris was a villain, and the thing about it is y'all acted so out of character. Y'all making Chris look good now, and Chris haven't done anything to prove to us that he really likes Sandia.
Right.
Like, you get what I'm saying? But now we see them in the bed, and that's also another rule to, like, never get in nobody's situation, because at the end of the day, Sandia's gonna lay up with him.
Yeah.
Because Sandia's still gonna talk to him. Sandia still want to date him. So at the end of the day, why do your opinion matters? No one called you a B. No one disrespected you. You inserted yourself in this situation, in this one, not the other one. You inserted yourself in this situation, and that's disrespectful. And I don't respect anybody who moves or talk like that, especially to a man.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, the burden is on us to keep a cooler head. You get what I'm saying? Because you can't trust every man to be respectful and to not put their hands on you. Even when Chris was walking away, you're calling him a B for walking away now? It's just like you can't win. And that's why I'm with Chris. Chris was like, you know what? I'm not talking to her no more in this house.
Yeah.
Now, this little rap battle they got into of show me your bank accounts, I don't understand where they coming from with that. You get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Millie, you showed yourself not to be a nice person, not to be a person to have empathy. But, you know, you're going through a lot. And I agree with the therapist that said at the end, maybe you need to focus on yourself. Maybe you need to focus on yourself, but let's keep going.
Yeah, so Gregg is trying to talk to Millie after all this happened.
Yeah.
And he tells her, you know, we can disagree, but still keep our heads about things. And she is very firmly still believing everything that she said and how she handled herself. And she said that Chris didn't hold himself accountable. And Gregg really doesn't understand why Millie's so combative.
Do you think that will be a stumbling block in their relationship?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because like we talked about of things eventually coming around to you. I mean, Gregg, you're going to be at the receiving end of that at some point. So, you know, it's one thing for her to do it to other people, but best believe, I mean, like she says further on in the episode, when she feels not safe, when she feels all these different ways, she's going to go to 10 and stay there. And I don't think you can always know what's going to make her feel that way. So
I think the thing that's interesting about this episode is that in the previous episodes, we saw how Brandon and Sienna was, and we judged how Brandon handled it. Like, Brandon, you're a little too soft for Sienna. Maybe you can't handle a woman like her. And even seeing Chris talking to Brandon and Gregg and everybody around him, basically saying like, hey man, you got to control your girl in some factors, paraphrasing basically. And now Gregg, you're in that situation, and you look like Brandon. You look like you can't handle yourself. I'm not saying that you need to control your woman, but there's no accountability. You get what I'm saying? If that's your woman, and if you want to be the one that initiated the, hey, maybe y'all need to talk, right? Maybe you should have been there as a mediator or something like that, and would have been like, hey, Millie, don't do that.
But see, I also think that Gregg doesn't know Millie enough to know that he probably should have been there to be a mediator, because I don't think he knew she was going to go off like that. He didn't know the first time she was going to go off like that, and now he's thinking they're going to actually be able to sit down and talk, and it's just like, oh, wait, maybe she can't.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Millie, work on yourself, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, Millie, Chris is talking to, I think he was talking to somebody, Sandia or somebody. He was like, you know, he doesn't plan on talking to her anymore. And, you know, there's only so many times you can call me out my name. Millie is talking to, I think, Josh and a few other people who were in the kitchen. I think Sandia was in there as well. And Millie was basically rewriting history and saying that he never let me speak. He doesn't like women who speak up. Sandia says that he walked away because he didn't want to disrespect a woman. And she makes it clear that she doesn't like the name calling.
It's so funny now Sandia got a voice, right? Y'all remember, the whole foundation of all this disagreement is y'all didn't like the fact that Chris was talking to Jody and basically treating Sandia wrong in y'all eyes, right? And guess what? I can agree to that too. I'm like, you never seen this woman. That's the whole point of the show. You should focus on talking to her. Now it turned into calling Sandia weak, Millie, right? And now Sandia is speaking up because she's like, hey, let's not do the name calling though. It kind of lets me to believe that maybe Sandia don't like y'all, because my thing is, if Sandia can see that, hey, Chris actually wasn't the bad guy in this point, and you actually showed your hand of being someone that actually provoked someone that called him out their name, and now we get in the story, and now I see you're lying. It's like, I don't know if I even want these women that I went to talk to. I don't know if I want to be friends with them anymore. Yeah. Because they showed their hand to be liars and lack of accountability.
Right. Well, coming to the house as far as friends and family, Jody's best friend is coming and Aaron J's dad is coming. Okay. So when his dad gets there, he explains to him that he's a sexologist, and the dad's asking him, okay, like, how does that make you feel? What do you think about that?
Talk about Jody?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And Aaron says that it's sexy, but it's intimidating. I don't think he finds it sexy at all. I think he said that because he thinks that's what people want to hear. And I think that that's an issue that Aaron has, is trying to, how do I say?
Is he a people pleaser?
Yeah, like a people pleaser.
Okay.
I think it looks like it.
Okay.
So his dad tells him not to be intimidated by that. He calls him the Mac Man. And I was just like, who? Where is the Mac Man?
Aaron.
Where is that guy?
It's Aaron.
So the dad is just like, with her being a sexologist, you know, you've had other partners and you've had good experiences with other people. So just listen to what she likes and you'll be fine. So Jody's best friend arrives, and she fills her friend on how she wasn't feeling the first date with Aaron. They haven't been intimate, and the friend is kind of shocked because she knows that that's important to Jody. And Jody is saying that thing about her being a man eater and how she's really trying not to go physical first, so that way she can actually stick around for a relationship. Do you feel like that's true? I mean, I'm not going to say, do you think she's a liar in that sense?
Is Jody a liar?
But do you think that what she's saying is true, or even partially true, about why she's not getting physical with Aaron?
I want to say yes, but let me put that yes on ice for a second. I think the show did a bad job, or is doing a bad job, on building other connections besides physicality. Every exercise that we've seen in the show, it was something sexual, right? And if you have someone who's been SA'd and things like that, they view it in a way that I can't comprehend for me. You get what I'm saying? Because I haven't been in that situation. Only thing I can do is empathize and sympathize and actually listen to someone that's been through that. You get what I'm saying? So only thing Aaron can do is listen to what she's saying, right? So the reason why I say I believe her is not so much that I have proof to believe her, but it's like, what do I say to someone who's been SA'd? You get what I'm saying?
But I'm not even like putting that into the mix. I'm talking about, she's saying that she doesn't want to be physical with Aaron because she can be a man eater and she doesn't want to leave the relationship.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. I honestly don't think she don't like Aaron. Yeah. Right? But I just tackle all, I kind of put all that in a gumbo together. And I
agree. I think that the essay portion is a strong portion about it. But I think some of her reasoning of why she's saying she's not being with physical with Aaron is not true. Like, I don't think that she necessarily wants to be physical with him. I don't know if she's necessarily attracted to him. And I also think that with her saying she's a man eater and she wants to go slow in a relationship, like, I can believe that to an extent, but not with Aaron. I think maybe if it was somebody that she was really physically attracted to, I don't know if that would be her excuse. So
define physical for me.
Having sex.
Okay, you ain't gotta say it like duh. Like you realize.
No, I'm saying having sex.
But I'm saying the show have it done. They don't do anything physical. Meaning, like, yeah, as we see, they don't lay in the bed together. They don't even have the beds touching. At one point when Aaron brought the bed.
They're barely around each other.
But I'm saying, I think there's a lack of physicality way before we get to sex. I'm talking about, remember when they were doing yoga?
Yeah.
And not yoga, but
the bondage
thing. And then at the end, they were standing next to each other. They were standing this far apart.
Yeah.
So there's a lack of physicality outside of sex that she just don't have with him, and I don't know if it's so much him or just guys, right? But we see, which I wish the show would do more exercise and things like that. I think Aaron is so impressionable, right, that he views physicality in the way that kind of like how you explain it, like sex, like, you know, you should sleep with your girl. But I think he needs to do other things. Like, as we go see, you saw how the father got up and like danced with her and stuff like that.
Yeah,
he needs to get used to touching her.
I agree with that.
I'm talking just like touching her, not in a sexual way, not in a way that leads to sex, but just in a touching way.
Okay.
Physicality. So that's why I asked, like, what do you mean by physicality? I think all physicality is off the table with her when it comes to Aaron.
I think that's where her boundaries start and stop at don't touch me. That's her boundary.
That's true.
So let me see. So Aaron H feels that it's time to tell Aaron J's dad about Jody, because Aaron is going around introducing the dad to his housemates.
Big Aaron.
So Aaron H says that the girl is disconnected from Aaron. Like, he does not think this is Aaron's last stop. Mm-hmm. And Aaron is pretty much just like, I see what I see. You know, us as older men, we can kind of see things that maybe some young people can't see. So I'll let you see if you see what I see. Is what Aaron is saying. And the dad is pretty much just like listening, but at the same time, he's just like, why does this matter to you? Like, okay.
This literally turned into like a preacher. It turned into a teacher conference. You know how, like, when you're in school and your teacher and your parent come and the teacher like, yeah, I think you need to look out for this and this and this and this. I'm like, big Aaron, there you go. You just got done arguing with two women in the past 2 episodes. Find Dymond. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always in everybody's business, you know?
Right. Well, Aaron's dad asked Jody's confidence level about it working out. Mm-hmm. And she says as long as there's no outside influences, she feels confident. Mm-hmm. The dad is just like, well, just to let you know, Aaron, he's trying. Like, don't make him work too hard. Mm-hmm. And pretty much, you know, F the peer pressure.
Fair.
So Aaron's dad asked her if she likes salsa dance. And she's like, well, if you can lead, I can dance. Mm-hmm. And the dad could lead. So they got to moving and boogieing, and he dipped her and all types of stuff. So Jody, it seemed like she enjoyed the dad, and it seemed like she let the dad touch her, which was
relax.
Interesting.
Now that leads me to believe that maybe little Aaron never knew how to salsa dance. Maybe he got the cues from his dad.
Yeah.
Maybe he was like, hey, Dad, I'm about to go on a show, and like, I'm talking to this girl named Jody. What should I do? And that's when the dad probably told him something simple, like, you know, dance with her, or maybe something simple.
Yeah.
And that's what he was like. He probably like, my daddy danced, so I'm gonna dance, because the salsa that the father was doing was very different from the salsa that little Aaron was doing.
Right.
But that's what I mean when I say, when you saw Jody, friend showed up. You saw a light in Jody that shined, that even wasn't there when Chris and her was talking.
Right.
Like she felt more comfortable, like at home, you know?
Yeah.
They both was loud, but, you know, that's her friend. You know what I mean? Her friend wasn't causing no trouble. Even something as simple as when the father was salsa dancing, you saw a certain light in Jody that I think little Aaron don't know how to
bring that out of her.
But it's but if I'm going off of your logic, Blair, of she don't like this man.
Yeah.
Then there's nothing he can really do.
I don't think there's anything he could do. I mean, even him asking, like, can I have a drink of your drink? And she's like, no, are you 6? Just like, yeah, there's literally nothing he can do.
But I do want to criticize the show of they only view physicality through these type of sexual exercises. That I think, especially with people who haven't seen each other, they need to do other exercises that basically build that physicality, that connection outside of sex.
Okay.
You know?
Mm-hmm. So we've got Aaron H, Greg, and Chris. They're all out by the hot tub talking.
Yeah.
And Aaron H is just professing his love for Dymond. That she's perfect for him. There's nothing about her he doesn't like. And he shared that he's going to propose to her before they leave the house.
Listen, man. All of the men was like, "Congratulations, man!" Like, and I'm like, guys, this is move. You know what I mean? Whenever someone says that there's something that that I don't like about someone, I'm always skeptical about that person. I'm just always skeptical.
When I say there's nothing they don't like?
Yeah, because he said there's nothing on Dymond that like he doesn't like, meaning like he likes everything about her.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and that makes you skeptical.
And that always makes me skeptical because that makes me think that you're not, especially at your big age, it makes me think like it's puppy love and you're not really realistic with the person that you about to get. This is not someone who's 19 or 22 who's about to get married. You're like 51. You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of, for one, she has a sister that you don't like. You know what I'm saying? And if that's her friend, and if that's her sister, you have to deal with that. And there may be times to where she's going to side with her sister. So I think, Aaron, you haven't done enough work with Dymond in person to propose, to know if you like everything about her. But like you said no one's perfect, but she's perfect for me. I just asked the question, did you feel the same way about the last woman you proposed to? And based on her answer, if she would have said yes, Dymond wouldn't even been in the picture. So that's why I'm kind of questioning his process of proposing to people.
Yeah, I got you.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Well, Millie doesn't want to punish Greg or herself for something that someone else has done.
Okay.
So she has been violated before, and if she doesn't feel safe, she has to protect herself because no one is protecting her.
Yeah.
She says she doesn't want to be masculine. She wants to be feminine, but she can't. She goes on to say she really doesn't need a man for anything, and it just seems like she's spiraling a little bit.
What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts is that Millie is really hurt.
Yeah.
And I think she needs to work through some of her personal issues because even though she says she doesn't want to punish Greg or herself for what she's been through, it appears that her actions are showing that that's the path that she's going to go down. Yeah. So I'm hoping that with these therapists they have on the show, and maybe she takes some time for individual therapy, that she can actually work through those issues so she can be in a healthy relationship. Because I don't think she's in a space to be in a healthy relationship right now. I think she's too raw. Like the wounds are very open, and anything can trigger a reaction out of her. So
yeah, I empathize with her as well. But yeah, I agree with Blair. I don't think you're in a position to be in a relationship to care for someone else's feelings when you need to focus on your feelings. I think this is the time in your life where you need to be selfish, and you shouldn't be selfish while you're in a relationship. You know, this is time for you to seek the therapy, to seek the counseling, to seek the peace. You get what I'm saying? I don't even know. Now I'm starting to think, was it even good you coming to this house? You get what I'm saying? Maybe you need peace, a time where it's just like nothing going on, to where you just really focus on yourself. So, yeah, even though this happened to you and things like that, and you was blaming yourself, saying you shouldn't have been there at 10 o'clock and things like that, as I said before, and I say it again, when bad people want to do something bad, there's no time of day, right, or when they choose it. It could be 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night. You get what I'm saying? So don't blame yourself for that. Yeah, and hopefully you just find the peace of mind that you're searching for.
So Aaron H calls a men's meeting. He says everyone should be sleeping with the person they are there for. Wow. So we all need to be coupled up with our ladies at this point. He's like, we all know each other. We've been in the house for some time now. It's no reason we should have a third wheel in the room farting. Oh my goodness. While we're trying to get things popping with our ladies. Chris says, we're all trying to be in a room with our girls. Aaron J says that he needs to talk to Jody so he can stay with her. Yeah. And he also wants to respect Jody's boundaries. And Aaron H says, okay, well, you should get to it now because, we got to go to bed at some point.
Yeah, he said, I was having this meeting for tonight.
Right.
Not for tomorrow.
Well, I don't think Aaron actually even really spoke to Jody. At least they didn't show it.
We didn't see it.
And they ended up moving Aaron's bed into the ladies' room. So during that night, they're sleeping. There's probably about like an inch of space between their bed.
Yeah.
And Aaron has it in his head that, you know, what the guys were saying earlier in the day and that they should be with their ladies. And Aaron is like, I should be with mine. I should be able to cuddle my lady. I should be able to lay with her. So he decides to push his bed right up against Jody and try to cuddle her.
Now here's the weird thing. I'm gonna use context clues. I think he did talk to Jody, but we did not see it.
Maybe
because the fact that the bed was in the room and she went to bed too.
Yeah,
she had to see the bed there. When they first brought the bed together, the guys put the bed close together,
and he pushed it apart.
Mm-hmm. So that right there already let me know that okay, he's paying attention. He kind of know what's up. I'm guessing they had a conversation. Hey, as long as there's this thing right here, it's all good. And then, you know, it showed him, like, you know, I couldn't sleep. But I don't know if that was the reason why you couldn't sleep, even though he said, like, you know, I was thinking that I bet it should be close. And I'm like, bruh, y'all in the same room, y'all this close. You get what I'm saying? I don't know what this is going to do, especially if you know her. You get what I'm saying? So, I did expect Jody to feel some type of way the next morning. Walk us through that, Blair.
So the next morning, Jody says, what the F?
Yes.
You disappointed me. You made me feel pressured, and now she feels uncomfortable. He apparently woke up in the morning, gave her a kiss on the forehead, and she woke up mad.
Because she's still sleeping and she just feeling lips on her head.
Yes. So Jody feels that he allowed everyone to get to him, and he acknowledges that, yeah, I probably was allowing people's opinions to tell me basically how to move with you.
Yes.
And Jody said we were moving at a healthy pace, and now she's disappointed and uncomfortable.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
That's kind of insensitive, but please, guys, I'm really trying to be sensitive, but it may come off as insensitive, right? Is Jody using what happened to her, unfortunately, as a shield to not be real with Aaron that she really don't like him?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that is definitely could be part of it, and it could be a real excuse.
Okay.
But I think the majority of it, or even if I don't know, half and half, it could be percentage wise, I don't know, but I think a large portion is that she just does not like this guy, and she's saying that part of it is because of how she was violated in the past, and that very well could be.
That's true.
But the overarching theme for me is that you don't like this guy, you don't want nothing to do with him, you don't want him really to be that close to you or anything like that, and it's just because you're not into him. And I wish she would be honest with him and say that, but I think she wants to be on the show.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
What do you think?
Man, like, that's what maybe the speech that I gave before is right for the speech now. I never been SA'd, you know, so I don't know what it does to the mental. I don't know what it does to your body. I just don't know. Like, as a man who is 6'1", as a man who knows how to fight, I never feel unsafe. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know what it feels like to feel in danger. So I want to give respect to her situation in the sense of, okay, you woke up, this guy is hovering over you, kissing you on the forehead while you sleep. And she even said, like, when someone, like, do stuff to me like that, I, like, jump and stuff like that. I want to give respect to that, you know? But at the same time, things that wasn't that, such as, can I have a sip of your drink? Can we hold hands? Can we do this? Can we stand close to each other? You have shown the same disdain that I'm like, I don't think it called for that. I think the disdain that you showed for this, I can be like, okay, it calls for this because you know she's been violated. Right. So, like, you kind of cross the line there.
And I do agree that he crossed the line there.
Yes,
he should not have pushed the beds together.
Facts.
He shouldn't have been touching on her while she was sleeping, especially if they didn't have conversations about what she was comfortable with.
Facts. So, I do think that the disdain that she had for this situation is warranted.
Yeah.
Can I have some of your drink and you give me the same disdain as this? I'm like, I don't think that match. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I battle with Jody of trying to respect her situation, while at the same time I'm like, but I seen you go off on Aaron for less.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, you know, respect.
Right. So Jody is talking to Josh and some of the other people in the kitchen, and she says that she was really upset with Aaron because he knows the issues or the problems she's had in her past about being violated. And she tells everybody that, you know, that's why she has an issue with people touching her in her sleep. He knew how she felt, and, you know, he knew that and still went ahead and did what he thought was best. She knows that it's a trauma response, but that's just who she is right now, and he has to respect it. She says she became a sexologist to help others who don't enjoy sex because of what they've been through. Chris apologizes about the guys coming together and pretty much having a role in getting Aaron to make her uncomfortable. But he tells her there really was no ill intention. Like, we all just wanted to be alone with the ladies that we're in a relationship with or with. So my thing about that with Jody is that I think she spoke for herself in her saying that it's a trauma response. So she knows that she isn't reacting in the most healthiest of ways. And probably not handling this relationship the way it should be if she wants it to be fruitful.
That's fair.
So I think that, and even though she said this is just where I'm at right now, I don't see her actually actively trying to move past it. And I think that's where the problem lies. And I think that's also partially, like we said, why are these people in these relationships for so long and don't want to see each other? I think that's part of why she's in a long distance relationship with this guy, is so that way she doesn't have to deal with her issues of physicality, whether it be touching, hugging, kissing, whatever the case may be. She can continue to keep him at arm's distance length. It's a lot harder to keep him at arm's distance when he's in your face. So
especially since she is in the profession that she's in. She's in that profession because that's her way of taking back power. And like she said, she want to help other people that may have experienced what she experienced. I like the fact, I got to give respect where respect is due. I got to give respect to Chris for apologizing, not only for himself, because he said, oh, I did not know that. And even when what is my man named Josh, when he was washing the dishes, when she said that she'd been SA, you saw like his eyes look up, because he was like, whoa, I did not know that. So Chris even taking that step of apologizing for himself and for the guys to basically let her know, like, okay, Aaron may have had a battery put in his back. That still don't take away what Aaron did, little Aaron, that is. Because little Aaron should be man enough to know, like, you know, don't let nobody put a battery in your back. You should have been in that moment like, nah, I'm just gonna respect her, you know. But and things was cool until he pushed the bed together and woke her up while she was asleep. So I'm like, so respect to Chris for apologizing and things like that, and actually seeing where she was coming from, you know. So
Greg and Millie meet up with Dr. Ali. She's a relationship expert. Millie shares that she was violated. And she acts out when people disrespect her. Greg can help her with calming down, is what the therapist is saying, that, you know, she's touching her hair, she looks uncomfortable. These are kind of her tells, and you can see when she's ramping up, and that's when you can be there as a support for her. He's thankful that she feels comfortable enough to share, and this is the therapist asking him how does he feel, because he kind of made like a facial reaction or something like that, and the therapist was like, I can kind of see that resonated with you in a way, if you can kind of tell me what you're thinking. And he has his own traumatic experiences, and just by him bringing that up, Millie gets annoyed. He says, basically, she says that he doesn't know how to respond to me saying that I've been violated. Like, he's talking about his own experiences, like, and she feels like he's not being there for her. And pretty much what the therapist saw was that I think both of you guys are hurt. And it doesn't seem like y'all can really be there for each other, because you guys need to be there for yourselves. So
what are your thoughts?
I'm totally with the therapist on that. And I mean, Greg was asked a question, if something, I mean, people have been through things, and it's possible that he's been through something similar or his own version of a violation. And if that resonates with him, that could be something that y'all can come together and just support each other on. It doesn't have to be, oh, you went through this, so I can't talk about what I've been through. It's not like, okay, you have the floor and I can never speak on anything that I may have experienced similar to it, you know? But I get where Millie's coming from, because it sounds like she just wants to be heard, and she wants to be basically supported in this moment. But this is a couple session, so we have to get into both people and how we can both show up for each other. So
I like what the doctor did. The doctor actually did what she suggested Greg to do, because while Millie was talking about her trauma, she was playing with her hair, right? And that was basically, she told Greg, like, that could be a tell, because she even asked Millie, whenever you talk about it, do you play with your hair? And she was like, oh yeah, I do. and that made me look at her, the doctor, when she recognized Gregg, his tail, because she said while Millie was talking, you was looking like in the distance.
Yeah.
Like basically, like I think she's looking for tails on Gregg. And the fact that she was empathetic and actually sensitive to the moment to ask Gregg, what are you thinking? I think that's very good. And maybe it's a practice that they can come together and do towards each other. Not trauma bond. I'm not asking them to do that. I'm basically saying that the same way as he needs to be sensitive to her tales and things like that, when you're talking about yourself as bad as whatever happened to you, like Blair said, people live their lives too. You want to still have that same open door for your man or whoever you're in a relationship with to basically speak up and be vulnerable with you as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think they need to break up.
Yeah.
I don't think they need to be together. I don't think Millie's capable of hearing anybody at this point of her life. I think she's in a position where she needs to be heard. And she only cares about being heard. Even the reaction to the doctor asking Gregg a question and Gregg answering a question that was asked that he did not volunteer to answer. She over here throwing her hands up, rolling her eyes and things of that nature. And I'm like, maybe you just not in a position to sympathize with men. You know? Yeah,
and I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. I think that her relationship with men currently is just not. It's not in a good place. Yeah.
So, anything else?
That's all we got.
Listen, I need y'all to subscribe, like, share, comment. I will be in the comments for a little bit today. Let me know what y'all think. Anything else?
That's all.
Y'all be good.
Bye.